So, hello everybody. I'm not quite ready to set up, but I'm closer than I was. I am much closer than I was. So, hello everybody. Let me pop out chat so I can see it. I may or may not have lost track of time. Let's go with... Why can't I pop this out? Don't do this to me. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Switch to non-mod view. There we go. Joe asks, Annie, are you okay? Yes, Joe. Yes, Joe. I am okay. How are you doing, Joe? Oh, I hate my trackball so much. I blame Bennu for everything. So, hello, Ironheart. Hello, Gem Doctor. Hello, DPI. Hello, Paranor. Hello, who else did I see pop up? I think Mike Cassidy. I think Wayne Johnson said he couldn't stay. I know Guido's making dinner. So, Yo Joe says, jet lagged. Well, I hope you had a good time. I was very confused about where you were, Joe. I wasn't sure if you were, like, actually in Portugal or not. But the fact that you're jet lagged, because there's part of me that's like, no, maybe he went to Vegas. Everybody's going to Vegas. And then you said something about Portugal, and I'm like, maybe he is in Portugal. You are in Portugal. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Because I think I saw you post something that was like, looked like it was Portuguese, but not a Portuguese that I'm familiar with. Because I know Brazilian Portuguese. Oh, you're home now. Okay. Alrighty then. That had to be an experience. Cheerios and make it rain! For Joe being home, and I'm now going to have first Cheerios. So, those of you that don't recognize Joe, don't worry about that. Joe is one of my gaming buddies. Who, I don't think it was him. I think it was somebody else in the gaming group that didn't know my name was Annie. And, was like, are you okay? And then everybody in the group chat that knew my first name was Annie just laughed. Joe says, I'm a good influence. Sure you are. I think it was just the title that brought you in. The fact that I'm going to talk about space toilets. So why am I going to be talking about space toilets today? Even though, you know, I'm still not quite entirely set up because I need to set up my spreadsheet. So we're going to be using Wikipedia and Google Drive today. And this is why. Y'all know I like space toilets. In fact, I should probably switch to something a little more official, just so Susie has an editing point. Did I mention I hate my trackball? My trackball is going. Yeah, I saw Soyuz had a derp yesterday. I totally saw that Soyuz had a derp yesterday. Well, I guess I don't have that, so I'll just remove that. And I don't have the, ooh, extreme putt close-up. And I don't have the rocket video, so hello everybody. I am Annie Wilson, and today we're going to talk about space toilets. So, why are we going to talk about space toilets today? It's not going to be space toilet bingo. I leave very early tomorrow morning for PSI's annual retreat. And I have to do a lightning talk. And the lightning talk is 1 minute, and PSI is full of scientists. I am not a scientist. I play one on Twitch. So here's the deal. Even though I'm not a scientist, I still have to give a lightning talk. I'm not entirely thrilled about this, but you know, things happen. So, briefly, I was like, okay, we're just going to talk about, like, I need to introduce myself, essentially, and explain what I do. And I do community engagement, not a scientist, science streaming on Twitch, and I know a lot about space toilets, and that is literally what my slide says. I'm not sure if I'll be able to pull it up for you guys. But, yeah, that's pretty much what it is, and I have a picture of a space toilet on the ISS. We're not going to deal with images. You can post links to images of space toilets, Mike, but I'm not going to deal with space toilets. So what we're going to do is, I usually have this ongoing thing of how many space toilets are there in space right now. Right now that answer is 4. There are 2 on the ISS and 2 on the Soyuz craft. They're docked to the ISS, although they're going to be doing a maneuver to move one from the other because Soyuzes are supposed to be able to automatically dock. Like, they don't need the Canadarm to put them in place. They don't need to be piloted in place. They're supposed to be able to dock just automatically. There's a Soyuz up right now that has, instead of people in it, a freaking robot. And the robot can't do anything. The robot's just literally sitting there as if it were a test dummy, and it's going to do stuff on the ISS to help the astronauts and cosmonauts and stuff. But the robot can't control the craft that it's in, and I think all of it has to be done somehow, because I honestly don't know. And there's no toilet on that craft, so there's going to be 3 Soyuz docked to the ISS, but they stripped out all non-essential, all crew-related things from this particular Soyuz capsule. So it is just Skybot, because that's his name now, just Skybot 850, and a whole bunch of cargo in where you'd put like 3 people. And yeah, robots don't need toilets, so they don't need a toilet. So let me get this going, and need to change this to space toilets. I really did lose track of time today. I was trying to make stuff work. Full screen, yeah. Yeah, perfect. All right. So here's my spreadsheet. It is nice and blank. No, Guido, I don't think the Soyuz that just went up is equipped to take astronauts back. I'm sure if they absolutely had to, they could, but they have 2 other Soyuz docked that can hold 3 humans each. I think when the robot goes back down to Earth, they're going to send it back in the same capsule. So it is literally just a capsule for Skybot. I wish I was joking. So I think the music's a touch too loud, so we're gonna see if I can futz with that just a little bit. This is not very chill. So I should have ducking. Yeah, I have ducking on. So yeah, that's what's going on with that. But to get the Soyuz with Skybot to dock, they do have to move it from one spot to another. So there's that. There is that indeed. Because we're just gonna end up flipping between these two, or not. I just lost Wikipedia. No, really, where did Wikipedia go? Oh my goodness. So I think Bennu killed, we'll just do it this way. I think Bennu killed my trackball because the micro switches in my trackball have officially died. So we're gonna go first to the space shuttle thing. Yeah, Guido, it is best to describe it as a half Soyuz, half Progress. I'm not entirely too sure what the difference between the two of them are, other than One is definitely made for humans and one isn't. And I think they literally just took a Soyuz and stripped it of all the crew stuff rather than just put a seat in progress. Does that make sense? So, yeah. Yeah, so here's the space toilet Wikipedia page, which I find amusing to no end. I really do. There's a link to it in the thing. So, just essentially, space toilet is a toilet, if you don't know, that can be used in a weightless environment. Without gravity, everything can be a little more difficult. So you don't have gravity to pull the waste products away from your body. So space toilets use airflow or suction. Yeah, older systems weren't nearly as nice as newer systems. Older systems may have not been a thing. When the first American that went up into space actually had to soil themselves because no one thought about, using the bathroom. Hey, thanks for the sub. Up and make it rain. Nobody thought about the bathroom. So, yeah, the first American in space literally soiled himself waiting for the craft to go up because they were like, you're not going to be on the launch pad for that long. You're just going to go up into space and come down to space. It's not going to be that long. We don't need to worry about biological human stuff. Surprise! He sat on the launch pad in the craft for so long that he's just like, I gotta go. Can I go? Can I soil myself? And there was some chatter about, will this affect any of the instruments that he was hooked up to gather readings? Will this affect anything inside the spacecraft? And the answer was no, it won't affect anything. So yeah, he soiled himself. Which, yeah. Selly2Cat says, sounds like a serious career opportunity for space plumbers. Some astronauts actually train in space plumbing. This is a real thing. So after that, I don't know exactly how the progress of Soviet Russia went with space toilets, but I do know that the Soyuz system more or less has been the same since the beginning. I'm sure they've made some updates, some changes, but as far as I'm concerned, the Soyuz toilet system is the longest continuous operating toilet system in space. The Americans weren't so great at it. On fighter jets, there is a process that allows male pilots, I don't know about female pilots, but male pilots, is it just fighter jets or is it all planes? Anyways, military aircraft back in the day, and maybe still today, I don't know, I don't fly planes, had a thing where a typically male pilot, let's be honest, it was mostly male pilots at the time, could unroll a sheath around their genitalia, much like a certain prophylactic, and it would pull liquid human waste away from the body and just disperse it in the air. No joke, that's how liquid human waste was dealt with on military spacecraft. So NASA had the bright idea of, let's use the same thing in our spacecraft. We already know this works, but there's a slight difference. The vacuum of space is not something you really want to, get anywhere close to some sensitive bits on your body. So, yeah, Apollo astronauts and probably even earlier. Actually, I don't know. I think the Mercury craft used bags. But Apollo astronauts vented urine into space. I was told it was pretty, but it also does, damage. It can coat solar panels, etc., etc. And there were some timing issues. Too soon. you got a bit of too much suction, too late, and you were a little wet. So yeah, that was not perfect. And no, there really wasn't anything other than a valve, maybe, and a knob, I'm assuming, between, you know, sensitive bits and space. That's a lovely thought, isn't it? Yes, it is. So yeah, space toilets have come a long way in the fact that, you know, your bits aren't directly exposed to space. Ah, space toilets. And yeah, the Apollo bags is how solid waste was handled. And yeah, it was a clear plastic bag with a little, what they call a finger cot, so just a, you know, spot where you could put in your finger to help move the solid waste away from your body, and afterwards you had to break up a capsule or a pill or a little packet or something of germicide and literally massage a clear plastic bag with your own solid waste in it. These are still available as emergency backups. Nobody, I repeat, nobody wants to use these. So as weird as space toilets are, it is still better than going in a bag. So, on with space toilets. My goal today is literally to just... Is there a dog on camera? I'm not sure if there's a dog on camera. Have some bits, Puck. My goal literally today is to start a spreadsheet of how many space toilets have disintegrated in our atmosphere. So Soyuz, there's been a lot of Soyuz, so we'll probably save Soyuz for last. DPI says, just the right topic I need for dinner. Well, sorry? Not sorry. You know my glee when it comes to space toilets. So, yeah, we're probably going to do USSR last, and the first thing we need to do really is to look at who all has sent humans into space. So I'm literally using Wikipedia for this. So humans in space, which, you know, space traveler. So we have so far, we know the USS, or we know the US, we know the USSR/Russia, and China has actually had a program too. So I don't think we're actually going to go too far around or deep into things, because I can't remember who all sends humans into flight or into space. Guido asks, did Buran ever get far enough along to have a loo? So Buran, for those that don't know, is the is essentially the ripoff of I shouldn't say ripoff. It is the Russian version of our reusable spacecraft, because Russia's spacecraft are not reusable. So I'm zooming in a whole lot. Yeah, as DPI says, Russian space shuttle adaptation. So I'm zooming in a whole bunch. So the top image is the space shuttle orbiter as it's built, and the bottom is of the Buran orbiter, and I don't know if it ever was flown. Here we go. It was designed to be launched in orbit by the expendable Energia rocket. A single uncrewed orbital test flight was made in November of 1988. A second test flight was planned by 93. Program was canceled due to lack of funding and the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 91. To 2 more orbiters were never completed, and the first one was destroyed in a hangar roof collapse in May 2002. So, yes, it made it into orbit. I don't know if there were ever toilets on it. So, yeah. And my dog is on the couch, rolling around. So let's go to Neil, just to see if there's a thing at the very bottom of the page that says humans in space. Guido says Buran was essential 10 years too late because the USSR collapsed. There were actually a number of problems with USSR spaceflight, which we didn't know until way after everything was declassified. I'm just looking for people who traveled to the moon. Categories. You'd think there would be a category just for people that have been in space. NASA civilian astronauts. Space. Nope. They do not have a thing for humans in space, which is very weird. X-15 had a seat that you could not leave until you were on the ground. That's terrifying. The capsule from the Soyuz pad aboard flew into space on a later mission. That's good to know. I think that's the only time it's been reused. So that's unfortunate that there's just no human in space category, which is very annoying. Oh yeah, I guess it could be, the X-15 could be considered a flight jet. So since there's no nice, neat, this is the list of humans that have been in space. We're just gonna start with space stations, I guess. Even though I know we said we would start with fighter jet. Yeah, I kind of guessed. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, Kerbal. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know why that was so... You think that would be linked. Maybe I wasn't really looking. YYZ says, was thinking of the X-15 because some of those pilots technically became astronauts due to the altitude of the flights. Alright, so I guess we're going to do this as... I think it's probably easier to do space stations first. So we'll do space station name. And country and number of toilets. And I actually have, I think on a different Google account, a breakdown of this. So we have Mir, Russia, and I can't remember how many toilets, and we have Skylab, USA. Not sure, I think they only had one toilet. And these are just toilets that have been destroyed. So I know China had 2. And I guess we'll make a note of ever occupied. Because yes, this makes a difference. So I know China had 2 space stations. So we'll get to space stations. I think I opened that. Yeah, I did. So let's look at Mir first. I think there was only one toilet on Mir. Structure. And we're literally going to life support. From the sink toilet and condensation from the air. So I think there was only one toilet. And actually, we'll add another column of year entered atmosphere. So Mir had one toilet. Yes. Skylab was occupied. Yes. Michael says, space toilet breakdown cells sounds smelly and unpleasant. Sully T. Cat says, I recall reading in Scott Kelly's memoir that on the ISS, if a toilet stopped functioning, it becomes the maintenance job for the day. Yes, I believe it. Yes. The toilets on the ISS, there's two of them. They're both of Russian design, but the U.S. astronauts can't use the Russian toilet without Russia charging the U.S. I'm not joking. I don't know if this works in reverse. I don't know if the U.S. charges Russia if the Russian cosmonauts use the U.S. bathroom. But yeah, this is real stuff. This is not a joke. This is very specialized equipment. I mean, it's hard to get anything into space. And things of that nature. So, yeah. Yeah, because the toilets on this space station don't evacuate anything to, space. So solid waste goes into a container that's under the seats, and that actually has to be swapped out. And new containers essentially have to go up. Sometimes the containers go back down to Earth to be studied. I'm not joking. Yes, there are scientists that study astronaut poo. And sometimes they're just burned up in the atmosphere. I am not willing to try to do the amount of math to find out how much poo has been, burned up in the atmosphere. I'd rather just stick to toilets, which the data on that's a lot easier to find. Larry asks, Mir had a bad fungus problem. Did it start from the toilet? Mir was not the only one with a fungus problem. Skylab had fungus too, and the ISS has also dealt with fungus. Guido replies with, probably not. Fungus can crop up everywhere because of moisture and stuff. So, yeah, it's literally just the fact that there's moisture. We carry fungal spores all over us. It's all over our stuff. I mean, that's part of the nature of space contamination. Tardigrades and fungal spores. So, yeah. So, Skylab had one toilet, and we know it was occupied. And there's probably a quick thing. Actually, we'll put the date of re-entry. So, July 11th, 1979. So, part of me is like, let's put the date that it went up. I'm not going to be able to do mission end, date of re-entry, date reached space. I'm probably not going to fill all of this out, especially for all of the Soyuz missions, because there's been like 140. Larry Weird asks, is the poo on the moon in clear bags? You know what? I'm not sure. YYZ asks, have y'all seen the 1950s sci-fi movie, The Quatermass Experiment, about space fungus attacking astronauts? No, but that sounds terrifying. Mike Cassidy asks, how do they do laundry on the ISS? They don't. They hang up their towels and their workout clothes to dry, but they really don't do laundry. Clothes are discarded the same way that, solid human waste is discarded. I wonder if Scott Kelly was in charge of the CO2 scrubbers. Apparently, Michael T. Meyer has vague memories of a TV series called Quartermass and the Pit. That's terrifying. Also, in case anyone is curious, I'm doing this the wrong way. There are 3 feral kittens outside hanging around my porch. So if my dogs go crazy, that's why. All right, so May 14th, 1973. That's probably one of the reasons why my dogs are going crazy today. May 14th, 1973. I think it was July 11th, 1979. And space hydrocephalus. Oh, that's terrifying. Isn't hydrocephalus like the, don't they call it like water on the brain or something? Oh, so that's why he knows so much about the CO2 scrubbing equipment, because he had to do maintenance work on it as well as all the other non-glamorous stuff. Yeah. Oh, I did recall it right. Okay. So, and I only know UFO and Moonbase Alpha. I have non-space hydrocephalus. Okay. Part of me is like, I don't know how to react to that. I really don't. Okay, so that's the dates that it was up. Part of me is like, I could do math and figure out of when exactly it was up, but I don't want to. All right, so that was Skylabs. Now we're gonna do Mir. Ah, okay. Skylab had a shower. The shower on Skylab was a pain to set up. And Mir was the first, what's the word? Modular space station. Yeah, Skylab had a shower. It was a pain. It didn't work very well. I think towards the end they just started using it kind of like a sauna, because it took a long time to set up. In fact, do I still have that? No, I closed the Skylab thing. All right. So we're gonna do, the toilet had to be one of the first modules that went up, I'm assuming. So we're going to say February 20th, 1986. I can't spell. Don't judge me. Yeah, it's not happy with my spelling. There we go. Yeah, there is, I think I have seen that model once or twice. I think I have seen that model. All right, re-entry was March 23rd, 2001. March 23rd, 2001. I think I vaguely remember, I should remember hearing about its re-entry. I think I was partially confused, but wasn't that the same time that we were putting our space station together? All right, so we have the Mir. Rigel says, I love that I tune in and it's about space toilets. Yeah. I have zero shame. So, normally we would be doing colorizing stuff, but I need to talk about space toilets on Tuesday? And I kind of want a better breakdown of how many space toilets were burned up where. I don't know if I'm going to get done with this today. I probably won't. So I might download the wiki pages that I need. Yes, you can do that. I might download the wiki pages I need, and I might set everything up so I can work on it on the MacBook offline. So, Mike Cassidy says, well, with the clothes not being clean, we know one source for the smell in ISS. Yeah, the ISS is kind of smelly. But you can't really smell or taste very well. DPI says, people will probably be obsessed by asking you stuff about space toilets. Yes. I might be brushing up in preparation for that as well. Yeah. So, yeah. All right, so I don't know how to pronounce this. Salute. We'll just call it Salute 1. I don't know why it's called DDoS 1 or DOS 1. So we'll put Russia. I think it had a toilet. I think it had to have had a toilet. There we go. Rigel asks, why can't they smell very well? And YYZ replies with congestion. So without gravity, all the fluids in your body just kind of redistribute. You know how when you have a cold here on Earth and, you know, sometimes you have I forget what it's called, but it goes down the back of your throat and like makes your throat raw. Like that doesn't happen. Also, there's no way for, you know, sinuses to drain properly, things like that. Yeah, post-nasal drip. There we go. Thank you. Salute. 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 Okay. Salute. So yeah. Yeah, there's gravity does way more for us than we really realize. It really does. Oh yeah, that's right. The world's first successful crewed flight to a space station was overshadowed when this crew was killed before the re-entry of Soyuz 11. The pressure equalization valve in the descent module Soyuz opened prematurely when the 3 modules of the spacecraft separated, suffocating all 3. So, yeah. Oh, DOS is a Russian acronym for Long Duration Orbital Station. That's good to know, Kerbal. Thank you. Yeah, after... Yeah, this is the crew that died on re-entry, and they weren't wearing pressurized suits. So after this, I think there was a lot of talk about, okay, now we need to make sure they need to wear pressurized suits, and I think that may have brought down the number of people that could be put into a Soyuz capsule for a little while, from 3 to 2, simply because of the design on the inside. So Salute 1 ran out of supplies before the Soyuz redesign effort was concluded. Yeah, the first real space station came to an end. So in order to get the dates on this, I apparently have to go to the thing. Soyuz 11 was indeed the only craft that visited. I think they tried to get 10 to visit. Oh no, the first crew launched, but they couldn't dock. Okay. They couldn't dock. That's what it was. So the crew of Soyuz 11 were the first, and as of this year, the only humans to have actually died in space. So it's kind of a bittersweet thing going on there. I know, Tinker. I know. Alright, so what is it going to say? It has re-entry, but not launch date. That's interesting. Oh, here we go. Launch was April 19th, 1971. So April 19th, 1971, and date of re-entry was October 11th, 1971. It's not very long, but 1971, and yes, it was occupied. So that was one. DOS 2 never reached orbit. And crashed into Pacific Ocean. So I'm not sure if that means it made it into space or not. But because it crashed into the Pacific Ocean, you know what? We're gonna count it. We're gonna count it. Because it did have a toilet. The toilet was destroyed. That's fine, Paranor. That's fine. July 29th. 1971 or 72? 72. And July 29th, 1972, no. We'll put a note, never made it to orbit. Space stations are a bit more difficult to say, oh yeah, they burned up in the atmosphere, because a lot of them came down in like a whole chunk or parts of chunks. They weren't small enough to be totally disrupted in the atmosphere. So we have Salyut 2 or Ops 1. This one also wasn't successful. So copy paste. Come on. Yeah, because it crashed off the coast of Australia, didn't it? Why was that? Not that one. For April 73. So April 4th, 1973, and then it was April 11th, 1973. No. Orbit decayed. Yes, I do remember that part of it did land on land. Land on land. Oh, no, wait. It re-entered May 28th. Okay, never mind. Let me fix that. It lost atmospheric pressure. Okay, it's probably a better way to put than orbit decayed. Lost atmospheric pressure. It's actually weird to me now that there's only one space station in orbit, right? Like, literally right now. Because I was so used to there being, you know, two, even though for the longest time I really only thought there was one, because, let's be honest, we don't pay a lot of attention to... the general America doesn't pay a lot of attention to other countries' space programs. In the Outback. Wow. I mean, at least it was in the Outback. So there's one toilet on this, because I'm almost certain there were toilets on all of these things. Kerbal says, I do. You are not a typical American. Just the fact that you are tuning in and watching me, you know, bumble my way through. Don't do it. fact that you're tuning in watching me bumble through space toilets does not make you an average American. I still have to explain what Twitch is. Oh wow, this one was never... This one did burn up on re-entry. So, launched on May 11th, 1973, which was before Salyut 2 re-entered. That's kind of interesting. Yes, exactly. I don't even have a telescope. And then they said a week later, so May 18th, 1973. Wow. No, and why wasn't it ever... Oh, it consumed all its fuel. Okay. Mr. Physics asks, so what's the point of this spreadsheet? So hello, Mr. Physics. I don't think I've ever seen you around before. I am Annie, and I like space toilets. The point of this spreadsheet is next week, I am going to, actually tomorrow morning, early, I am an employee of PSI, that's Planetary Science Institute in Tucson, Arizona, and we are having our yearly retreat. I have not met a lot of my coworkers. So what they do is they have a lightning round for the scientists to talk about their science. I am not a scientist. I think earlier I said I just play a scientist on Twitch, but that's not even true. I am a science communicator of sorts. I'm still like not very sure how I feel about that, but I do my best to do science communication. So because I'm not a scientist and I don't really have I don't really have science to present, I'm going to talk a little bit about my job, which is community engagement. I know, Puck, you're really upset about whatever's out there, which is like 3 feral cats. Community engagement, and I do usually on Sundays color a space telescope data, so science outreach on Twitch, and space toilets. I really like space toilets. There are 4 toilets in orbit right now. This spreadsheet is breaking down how many toilets have re-entered Earth's atmosphere in a not great way. For a while I was saying burned up in the atmosphere, but that's not entirely accurate. Although Cosmos or DOS 3 did burn up in the atmosphere. Yeah. So yeah. So space toilets work. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Space toilets work because there's no gravity. The ones that you want to use suction, usually by fans, to pull waste materials away from your body. DPI says negative pressure. YYZ says suction. Yeah, the ones you don't want to use, definitely use suction. So, yeah, no, there's not a lot of suction. There really is not a lot of suction. It's a fan. And instead of the fan blowing at you, it's blowing away from you. So there's that. Fun fact, Russia was way on the space toilet game before we were. And the emergency backup for solid human waste to this day are these wonderful things called Apollo bags. They are, I don't know if they're still clear, but they used to be clear plastic bags that had a little insert for your finger so you could help move the solid waste away from your body because, there's no gravity. Hey! This is important conversation here. So you can move the solid waste away from your body because, there wasn't gravity to do that for you. And then you had to break up the capsule, packet, pill, germicide of something into it and massage your own solid waste with this germicide so bacteria wouldn't blow up. So Mr. Physics says, okay, LOL. Well, now I want to be an astronaut even less. Yes, yes. People ask me if I want to go to space. Nope. I am A-okay being here on the ground. But I don't have... Oh, thanks for the follow. This is what happens when stuff like that happens. And speak. Tinker says thank you. And make it rain. This might stop Puck from sniffing it underneath the door and barking at the feral cats for a little bit. So yeah, as YYZ says, you have to be comfortable with bodily functions to be an astronaut. And DPI adds, if you don't use a germicide, those things might lose structural integrity in a rapid way, as in the bacteria that are naturally in, you know, your solid waste may produce gas and make the bags explode, which is why you need to use a germicide. On a much different note, on Skylab, they used bars of like Neutrogena with, I think it was a magnet or a piece of metal inserted inside so they could just stick it to the wall near the sink. So there's that. DPI says, in other news, my dinner was tasty. Good. Good. Used up all its fuel. So, yeah, because I'm not talking about, you know, the science I do, because I don't really do science, I'm going to talk about space toilets because, I mean, this lightning talk has to be under a minute. So I'm literally just going to say, my name is Annie Wilson. I live in Youngstown, Ohio. I do... Oh, that's what it was. I do community engagement, data visualization, and not a scientist science streaming on Twitch. And I like space toilets. There are 4 toilets in space. Guido says, I'm so used to the space toilet talk that it doesn't bother me at all during dinner anymore. Yes, I win! I win. Also, Mr. Physics, this is a shared channel. I feel like I need to tell you that. And there are 2 streamers, usually, that are here on the channel, myself and my boss, Dr. Pamela Gay. She does not stream on this channel on Sundays. But, I don't think anybody's streaming tomorrow. Nobody's streaming tomorrow. And I think we'll be back to streaming on Tuesday. So, because literally all of us travel. Does she know Horizon Psi? I think she's familiar with Horizon Psi. Like, the username looks familiar at least. So, yeah, we're not streaming on Monday and we're not streaming on Friday this week. Because we'll all be traveling and I really don't want to stream from the airport. I'd rather be, you know, moving gate to gate. Plus, I don't have my MacBook set up for streaming yet. So, yeah. There are critters in the house. There's the 2 dogs that you've seen. I think Tinker's... I don't have OBS up, so I can't see who's on camera right now. I should probably fix that. Oh, that is Tinker on camera. Why are you staring at the wall? Stop staring at the wall. Have some bits. Tinker's the dash hound. I know they're not very well lit. And Puck is the white fluffy dog. And there are 3 feral cats outside, and there's a cat elsewhere in the house. He, Oh yeah, that's right. Horizon Psi is part of TKF. See, Dr. Pamela goes to, like, all the conventions and stuff. He is a, bad auto mod. Puck is a American Eskimo, so neither. I've been told that he looks like a Pom with a bad haircut, but no, he's an Esky. He's between. Was it that one of your parents was a mini and the other parent was a standard, I think, or one was a mini and one was a toy. So, are you hoping Cheerios are just gonna fall out of the coats, Tinkerbell? But yeah, Puck is an American Eskimo. But yeah, there's also a cat here. If you hear a baby, it's not a baby, it's totally a cat. True story. So yeah, I'm definitely, definitely not going to finish with this spreadsheet today, and that's okay. That's okay. I got it started. We're talking about space toilets, which, you know, always makes me happy. June 25th, 1974. So, YYZ says, well, we kind of distract you. That's okay. That's okay. I knew I wasn't going to get done with this. I've been talking about, oh, this is, Salyut 3 was the one with the onboard autocannon. This was the one where they, yeah, did the thing. Autocannon, yeah, Russia was the first country to, I think they were the first country to literally fire projectiles in space. So, this was in 1975. So, and it re-entered the atmosphere on July 24th, 1975, and yes, it was occupied. That's a year after the Space Treaty, which made weapons... Oh, that was weapons of mass destruction. Yeah, they destroyed a satellite. So, Soyuz 14 boarded and docked, or docked and boarded. Soyuz 15 failed to dock. So, kind of like the problem that we're having right now with Skybot and docking with the ISS. Only Skybot really can't control anything. Oh wow, the same day it had been, the same day it re-entered the atmosphere is the same day that it did that, the autocannon. It was ordered to deorbit, did the autocannon, and re-entered the atmosphere. That's wild. That is wild. It has to be 1975. Otherwise it doesn't work that way. Yep. Yeah, talk about going out with a bang, right, Rigel? So, it's like, why? Da-da-da. Leave the cats alone. They didn't do anything. Shh. Have some bits. And now we're on DOS 4. Come on. There we go. This is also Russia. Das Putin. And I still have the 2 from China to add in there. It's just, okay, I know these existed. And that's it. DPI says, I remember DOS 3.3 and DOS 6.2, but not DOS 4. Ha 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 ha. I'm getting ahead of myself. So it re-entered on February 3rd, 1977. So we'll add that. See if I can spell February correctly this time. February 3rd, 1977. And then go backwards. And yes, this was occupied on 26 December 1974. December 26, 1974. And yes, it was occupied. Larry Weird says, I started with DOS 2.11. I don't remember what version of DOS I started with. Yes, I remember DOS, which is probably the only reason why I can fumble through, you know, Ubuntu command line prompt. It still feels awkward after all of these years of having a GUI. also remember having to manually start Windows instead of Windows just starting. Tinker's like, yes, Cheerios. I started with Extended Basic on TI-99. I'm an oldie. I think I started with either Basic or QBasic. On a very old 286 laptop, which I didn't understand until relatively recently. By relatively recently, I mean like, let me check, the last 5 years that was the that the 286 was the chipset. I was just like, I have a 286 laptop. Commodore Basic 2 and then Amiga Workbench 1.3. Wow. Machine language with a PDP 11. The only machine language I mess with is within a video game. And it's not, the machine language on purpose is not very well documented. TPI says, nah, you're one of the younger ones here, Rigel. We have a few Vaxxers here. Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. Indeed. Part of me is annoyed. There we go. I have my light source sitting on top of my webcam, so it's like being kind of weird. But there we go. So let's see. This goes up and on the 22nd of June, 1976. June 22nd, 1976. So some of these were up there at the same time. And yes, it was occupied and it re-entered August 8th, 1977. I think one day I probably will make a graphic of some sort of how many, you know, space stations were in orbit. And I think it was after Salyut 5 where they were like, we're just going to make satellites because satellites were cheaper. So oh wow, Salyut 6 or DOS 5 had 2 docked spacecraft. Enter Cosmos. Oh yeah, first citizens in space other than the nation US or Soviet Union. First black and Hispanic person in space and the first Asian person in space. Here's an, you still have your Commodore? That's amazing, Gem Doctor. Does it still run? So Salyut 6 is another one where they had ever-increasing mold issues in living quarters. And, yeah, that's not good. So this was up September 29th. Oops, I should probably go back and like actually copy the name of it. And some of these Salyuts, some of these were civilian operations and some of these were military operations. The calculator keyboard? That was a thing? Part of me is like, I'm gonna rearrange this. What did I say? September 29th, 1977. September 29th, 1977. And then it came down, it says it was deorbited July 29th, 1982. 1982, and yes, it was occupied. And then 7, I think, was the last one. Oh. Salyut 7 or DOS 6. See, the Mir DOS 7 became the Mir core module. So that's why we're not going to go into it. And then the DOS 8 became a part of the ISS. And there's the cat. Do I have a treat for the cat? Oh no, do I have a treat? Okay, I do have a treat for the cat. So let me... That is not a baby you hear, that is a cat. The cat has hyperthyroidism, and he's actually made it a couple more hours than I thought you would without food. I'm kind of impressed, buddy. Come here, buddy. Come here. I know. You want your thing. You want your treat. So he went to the vet on Friday. And poor Blue's cat Tuffy. Yeah, Larry, I tweeted about him this morning. I called him Tuffy the singing cat. He does have the cat has hyperthyroidism. Where are you going? I'm working on your treat. He's like, no, you're taking too long. No. Give me a second. He cries. I get his treat. I'm working on opening his treat. Is this what you want? It is. Come here. There we go. So right now he gets medication twice a day and is still eating. He's only been on medication for a day and a half. So he's seems to have more energy, but he's still very insistent on being fed often. It was launched April 19th, 1982. So try to do this one-handed. April 18th, 1982. Huh, FreeDOS is still outperforming everything then by a wide margin. Wow. Da 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 da. Da. Welcome to it is 15 minutes after Annie usually stops streaming and the world just comes to a crashing halt. That's okay. We're gonna finish up with the space stations and then I think we're gonna call it a day. Because it's just one of those days. It's one of those days. Oh, Rise of the Triad. But can you play Oregon Trail? I want to play Oregon Trail. February 7th, 1991. Wow, that one, wow. This one stayed up for almost 10 years. Hold on, let me double check that date. I wonder if I can just copy paste it rather than typing it in. Let's see what happens. Will it recognize? It does, and it doesn't put it in the format that everything else is in. It is available on archive. Cool. Let me... Format, number 8, format, number, more formats, more date and time formats. There we go. know if it has time-dependent code. Like, are you talking like clock cycles time? Because I think I tried playing a really old DOS game before and it just ran way too fast. Like literally way too fast. So if that's what you mean by time dependent code, I would definitely be concerned about that. The cat's almost done, I promise. Is I gonna hold you over for a little bit? Yeah, it is. Oregon Trail is kind of turn-based, kind of. Tried a version in Defender and you hit play and you lost in 10 milliseconds. Oh my goodness. All right, are you good? I get to teach Favorite Human tonight. Actually, tonight I get to make sure I get to observe Favorite Human pilling a cat for the first time. He did not grow up with cats in the home. Every time Tuffy has needed medication, I've been home the entire time. So this is gonna be fun, isn't it, buddy? He's like, yes, yes it is. Are you just gonna stay in my lap? Okay. No, 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 not the keyboard. You can't see them. Those are Cheerios. Those are for the dog. You don't like Cheerios. You don't have any teeth to chew the Cheerios with. Ah! What are you doing? Quick hit save. The cat may have been responsible for me, you know, messing up Bennu images when we were doing Bennu. Okay, cat's off my desk. What? You're gonna have to wait a little bit. I'm almost done, I promise. I have 2 more space stations to do. Tinker's like, can I have bits? There, Tinker, have bits. That is the one thing I do like about Google Sheets, is that it auto-saves literally all the time, constantly. So if the cat does jump up and touch the keyboard, well, it might seem like 10 milliseconds, says Larry. I am a Texan. We're required to exaggerate. It's okay. It's okay. All right. So we're done with all of the Russian space stations. And we're done with the one and only USA only space station. And now the other space stations that exist are, wait, there's another one? What's LOP G? Open up that, and LOP G, if it looks, or not LOP G, if the Tiangong craft look like Russia craft, it's not just you. So Tiangong 1, open that one, open this one, went up September 29th, 2011. Oops, I think I got ahead of myself. Yeah, we can't, by we, I mean the USA, can't help China, but, April 2nd. That's right, it did just re-enter. We can't do space stuff with China, really. I think it was occupied. Days in orbit, days occupied. But Russia has definitely helped China with their space program. And there's politics involving, you know, why we can't help China and so on and so forth. And I don't understand all of them. I do know they have to deal with, in theory, national defense issues. So, yeah. Yeah. All right, so September 15th, 2016. I said 2016, right? I might be off by a day. Nope, not that one. We're done with that one. Yep, I was off by a day. Hey, thanks for following, Chalkboard. Welcome to the stream. I am working on space toilets because space toilets. And speak! Oh, thank you, Tinker! And make it rain! Yes, every time an alert comes across my stream, or across my screen, I have the dogs say thank you. Because that is one of the best ways I know how to say thank you. And I think this one was also occupied. I know this one wasn't up for nearly as long. I think it decayed quickly. It was up. They don't have the... It's been deorbited. It has been deorbited, and they don't have it as marked as such. Oh yeah, because the statistics are of 2016. Yeah. These are old, and I have to update this. I don't have to, but here we go. They didn't update the sidebar, but here they have. It made a controlled reentry on 19th of July, so just last month. It was literally just last month. I was like, I know it's not up there. So we'll just do a quick sum. And this is just how many space station toilets. That's just number of space station toilets. Most of these are Russian. All but 3 of these are Russian. So that's just space station toilets. So I'm going to call this sheet space station toilets, and I'm going to create another sheet called spacecraft toilets. Larry Weird says, China was tasked to launch U.S. government satellite, promised to respect the seals. They did not. They took it all apart and reverse engineered everything. Congress made space cooperation with China not a thing after that. I know that I think it was at least one, with illegal after that. I didn't know that they tore apart the satellite. I do know that at least one satellite was lost. I know, buddy. I do know that one satellite was lost, and I think that was one of the earlier launches of the thing. Yeah, also the hacking. And China does... There have been allegations of China stealing technology from countries and corporations that are obviously not Chinese. So there's all of that. I had to think of a way to word that delicately. So, spacecraft toilets, I know there's at least 100 and... Let's just say 120. Because there have been that many Soyuz launches. I do have another sheet. I have another document that actually breaks down how many launches are when, but I don't have it as nice as this, where, you know, where it reached space and the re-entry date. Because I would like to have that for every single toilet. So this might just be an ongoing project. Because, you know, I'm not shy about the fact that I like data. So what is this? We're done with this. So what is this other thing? Oh, the LOP-G. Oh, it's the Lunar Orbiter Platform Gateway. It's not even up yet. It's just been... YYZ says all Soyuz capsules have have toilets. I think so. Most of them have. Obviously, the one with Skybot does not have a toilet, but the Progress cargo vehicles are based on the Soyuz crew vehicles. So, yeah. So, there is a bunch of planned space stations and Chinese Large Modular Space Station, which is technically part of the Tiangong program. So... I don't think there's anything up right now. Shh. Hold on, I'm reading. I'm like skimming. So they needed to do a cargo transport spacecraft, which they've tested and launched in 2017. The first core module is not planned for launch until next year. The next module after that is planned for 2021. The second experiment module is planned for 2022. And there's going to be a separated space telescope module that doesn't have a launch date on it. So it's going to be considered the third generation modular space station. Third generation stations are the Mir, the ISS, and what is this OPSEC thing? Orbited Piloted Assembly and Experiment Complex. It was a 2009 through 2017. Oh, it was a proposed third generation modular space station. Okay, I see. Yeah, that never happened. Oh, no, wait, but it says launches in the 2020s. This is confusing. There's a lot going on here. I know, buddy. So I'm not sure if this is still a thing, still a plan, still not a plan. I think I'm going to do what Dr. Pamela does for space stations. It's dead to me until it's up there. I think it's dead to, I think it's just going to be, space stations are going to be dead to me until they're up there. Anyway, so yeah, from space stations alone, we have 13 toilets that, you know, came back down into space. Technically, 12 that made it to orbit. It's dead until the toilet's floating. Yeah, that's a good way to put it for this DPI. YYZ says, coming soon, $3 billion project to study mold in space for the Lunar Gateway, planned to be completed by 2030. Sarcasm. What are you doing, cat? I don't trust the cat. Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna wrap it up here because we've definitely gone for an hour. My cat is doing suspicious cat things. I don't trust the cat, can you tell? And yeah, I'm going to Oh, there you are. Okay, I feel better now. I'm going to, yeah, continue working on doing laundry and packing because I have an early flight tomorrow. My flight is at like 7 a.m. and it's in Cleveland. And I don't like the Cleveland airport. And yeah, we're gonna have to wake up at like 4. I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling this at all. But there are clothes in the general location of my suitcase, backpack, whatever, and yeah, I just need to get more clothes in the general location. From there, it'll be easy. YYZ says, thanks, Annie. Maybe see you later on Starstrider's stream. Not, if she streams later tonight, not on her stream then, but we will be streaming Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from Tucson, so you should be able to see me then. Yeah, it's gonna be neat to be in the same meet spaces as Dr. Pamela. So yeah, thanks for all of the well wishes for the travels. I'm hoping it goes well. I'm more worried about favorite human pilling a cat, because this is why he's my favorite human. I am leaving him with an elderly sick cat, and he's like, don't worry about it, I got it. So, meet space. Yeah. Well, I mean, we talk all the time on the internet, so we're just not often in the same, actual locale. And more Cheerios! So yes, thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm going to start all of that other stuff. This is your last chance for questions while I do the wall of text. So, wall of text begins. This has been Science Sunday with me, Annie, as your host. We stream Sunday through Fridays, usually Sunday through Fridays, at 1700 hours UTC. Right now that is 1 p.m. Eastern Time. There is no stream tomorrow, and there is no stream Friday because of travel. If you ever miss a stream, we archive everything on YouTube because we can. And that is thanks to Susie. Susie's the one that makes sure, does all the editing, puts everything up on YouTube. If you miss some dogs, you can catch some more dogs on YouTube. What else? Oh, our host institution is PSI. That's Planetary Science Institute in Tucson, Arizona, where I promise not to die next week from the heat. Working in collaboration with Youngstown State University here in Youngstown. It looks okay outside. Ohio. PSI is a 501c3 nonprofit, which is fancy speak for your donations are tax deductible where laws allow. We are brought to you by you. So thank you for all of your bits, your subs, your donations, your pledges on Patreon, your merch purchases. Thank you for all of that. And if you can't afford to do any of that, that's okay. We understand. Follows are free. Doing a science on CosmoQuest.org is free. I think it's .org. Anyways, follows are free. Doing a science is free. Another way you can help us out is by inflicting us on the other humans in your life. Because, why not? Share the love. And I think that's all the things I have to do. Is that all the things I have to do, Cat? The cat's just laying on the floor like, I don't know. This is your job, not mine, human. Yeah, I think that's everything. So, oh, I didn't even log into Streamlabs. Look at me screwing up. No! Is it even gonna work? Ha! 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 I broke Streamlabs. So I can't roll the credits. So thank you. I can't even get into Streamlabs to look at the credits. So thank you to everyone for your bits, your follows, your subs today. Normally I have a wonderful credit screen that takes care of this. Thanks again to Susie for all the editing work she puts in. Thanks to Dave, who will be like, yo, you forgot about this thing later, which if I screw up, please tell me so I can fix it for later. And yeah, I guess I can run the credit screen with no credits. But Yeah. There's no credits. So I'm gonna transfer to the credit screen because there are no credits, and yeah. Tech problems, gotta love them. And I will see you all Tuesday, I guess. So until then, have a wonderful insert time of day here and keep being awesome. So yeah, bye.